Rider students are fabulous interns. We can talk later. And then 3, I'm excited that you're here today, as opposed to this day last year or this day the year before that. I'm happy that you're meeting in person this time around. But it would have been a different picture if it was last year, and a really different picture if it was the year before. I also like telling stories, so I'm going to take you back. We all in this room, I know, have some version of a story that's titled something like, "Things are so much better than they were last year," or "Things are so." So let's go back to the Ides of March of 2020. Here, and I know some of you are in higher ed and doing things. So this is what it looked like here at Rider in 2020 when we were realizing that this pandemic was really seriously going to affect how we do what we do. And we made the decision to ask students, tell students, to go on spring break and stay there. You know, to go, they take an extra week on spring break while we figured out how we were going to do this. And then we're going to spend the rest of the semester remote, which was, you know, great. Pat ourselves on the back with a solution that we were able to do it. And then the reality hit. And we realized that we had some faculty members who kept on top of all of the latest when it comes to teaching online. They had been teaching maybe for decades because, you know, it was possible to teach in the 90s. There were courses online, but it's grown a lot over the past few decades in terms of what that looks like and what you can do. And then we also had faculty members that were on the other end of that spectrum. They kept up to date with their field for sure, so don't think that I'm saying that they weren't working on their classes regularly and making them excellent and doing their role excellent, but they were not online teachers, and they were barely online communicators when it came to email. So do you remember the old correspondence courses where you would almost mail away assignments in the mail, and then you'd mail back your solution, you know, the work in the mail? And so for the end of that semester, that spring 2020 semester, it was whatever works, however we can make it through. We were survival mode, and it ran the gamut in terms of what that experience looked like for the student experience and learning. And then came the summer, and there were a few of us who thought, okay, well that's over. So September 2020, we're back to normal. We did it, and that didn't work out that way. So instead, we spent the summer of 2020 getting ready. So we had an excuse at the end of the spring 2020 semester, but now we had to actually be ready. So we skilled up. And we have a small but mighty faculty development center here at Rider that made sure that there were some minimal skills that all faculty had, that all students had in terms of expectations about online learning. And we became a little bit more ready. Not to mention that we were using words we've never used before around like modalities. You know, this is something that didn't mean much to us before. We knew we had online courses and we knew we taught in person. And our online courses, because this is what our students are looking for if they're working full-time and doing this at night or in another time zone, we're all asynchronous courses. That's part of the way that we do our online education. So now we were talking about a modality choice that faculty members had of keeping some online asynchronous courses like that, introducing synchronous elements to courses for the first time, having what we still had some in-person courses. So imagine going around, in addition to the deep cleaning and disinfecting and all that had to happen, this room was one of those classrooms that we used for a typical course. Most of our classrooms can fit, what, 20, what is it, students, what do you think, top 25 to 40, you know, students. Those classrooms that fit 25 to 40 students could now, because of social distancing protocol, fit like six students, 7 students. This room could fit like 12, maybe 19, I can't remember the numbers, but so we had some instruction that was happening in person, because we had some students that were living on campus, still very few. And then our hybrid looked like a combination of those in-person and some synchronous or asynchronous online. And then our we had blended online. Remember, blended online was like a combination of synchronous and asynchronous with no in-person component. But this was all new for us. And then there were some brave souls, and I'm pretty sure Tom was one of them.
I did do it, yes.
Who did what was known now as, you know, where am I going with this? What is the term that we used when we were teaching in person, but then also teaching online in the back of the room via camera? High flex courses. And Tom was one of those brave souls who And I don't remember how well it went in your case, but I always refer to you as being someone.
Yeah, I think what I remember about that was I gave the option to come in person or to go Zoom, and a higher percentage than I would have liked chose the Zoom route. It's like, I'm here. Is it me? You don't want to hang out with me? But I think it was the convenience of it.
Which is fair. Which is, we're humans. We're working. We're finding solutions that work for us. But we learned a few things there that there's probably. I always think there's kind of two success factors that will make things like that work. And one of it is culture, right? The readiness of everybody who's involved, and the other one is technology. So, and then that got me to thinking about, if you heard it one time during the pandemic, you heard it a million times, is that the pandemic really served to accelerate trends that were already happening. So if we talked, I don't know, our healthcare experts, and they say the move towards like hospital, what normally would happen in a hospital to home healthcare was already happening, but the pandemic made it necessary when there were fewer spots because of COVID patients. And our supply chain said, well, all of the disruptions was really just an acceleration of what was already happening, and compounded by all of these that were taking place there. And we're preparing students tomorrow for a career fair that's happening, and we tell them people were already doing video interviews as a first round for the efficiency, but now it became a necessity, and everybody is doing it and will continue to do it now because it just sped these things up. So, and it made me remember that, I don't know, maybe the 80s when telework and telecommuting was seen as this is the future of work. But it kind of had a slow trot from that point on. It became like the way we work by exception, when we need a solution because of some kind of problem, or as an interim approach when it became necessary, or for people who were not interested in actually taking part. It was not what it was sold to be. And then when technology allowed us to do it, but were we really doing it? And you could look to culture or quicker technology in order to know whether that was ever going to happen. And then the pandemic made sure that this was not just a by exception thing. Everybody saw that there's some realities and there's some benefits to that idea of working from home. And then came all the buts. So I was trying to make a list of buts.
That's good.
Everybody should have a list.
Yeah.
So how do we keep, but we can work from home, but how do we keep the culture? But how do we develop relationships? But how do we build team skills? But how do we make an impression and form our own personal brand and build a reputation and have a future in the eyes of the people that I'm working with that are making those decisions? How do we remain professionals who take pride in the work we do if we're not showering and putting on clothes on a daily basis and all of those things? It just doesn't feel the same. But whenever there are buts, there's always some what ifs, and people will come by and say, well, what if we found some way that we could be the best of both worlds? What if we were still able to get the efficiency that comes with not commuting, or the environmental benefits of not commuting every day, or the flexibility that we now recognize as an employee value of being able to have some ownership and autonomy of when and how and where we're working? What if we were able to build the best of both worlds? What if we, as managers, found a way to strike that balance, of providing the resources and providing the trust and backing off a little bit and assuming that it's the work and not the how or the when and the where that's important. And so when I look at your schedule for today, and I think that this is all about what ifs, I think that I'm assuming that everybody's going to leave here with some things that they could do before, some great ideas, some great contacts. And it's really thrilling for me to know that when somebody remembers what it is that they're doing better than they were before, that Ryder and the Brodsky College of Business was somehow a part of that day. So I'd like to once again thank you for being here. Thank Tom for giving me a couple minutes at the microphone, and wish you an excellent meeting. Thank you.